All right, the next question comes from Halder. Halder, how you doing? Thanks for your question. Now, Halder said, "Hi, Robert. I have a question, which is, how can I develop a good technique for a ragtime piano? This is me," and he gave me a clip, a YouTube clip. He says, "I follow your instruction to play by ears, but know that I can play. I want to play ragtime piano." All right, so to play ragtime piano, that's actually a very advanced style. I do cover that in the course when we get into styles in the hoot section, but more importantly, you have to understand the language of that style and actually the dynamics that that takes. So for example, traditional ragtime is like this. This is one of the ones that I like. All right, so obviously there's that style. Or when I checked out your video, I know you were playing, or I think you said you liked that song. Right, so that's, let's say if I was doing it ragtime. So ragtime involves like a little, like the left hand has to do stuff like that. And that's the basics, right? Now, how can I do that? Now, I know some people that are advanced may want me to show exactly, but I think more than showing you exactly what I played is teaching you how we got that. Now, I can't possibly teach you all of this in the couple minutes that we have here. However, you need to understand principles. Now, one of the principles are what we call accessories. Accessories are just the extra things that you can add to your chords. So let's say you're intermediate and you understand certain things. So let's say we know that we have the C minor chord, okay? So let's say we have the C minor. Let's do a double time. We're gonna go da, 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 and let's say it has this. Okay, so these are the chords. Okay, right? But more importantly, when you see that, it's more important to identify what is this. Because if you're just looking at that, it just looks like chords. But you have to identify what key it's in. All right, so by volume 2, we'll be able to just look at this and say, okay, that's that number, that's that number. Okay, I'm not going to spend a lot of time with that because you're asking about ragtime, okay? So with ragtime, it involves a lot of what your left hand's doing, okay? And actually what your right hand's doing. But let me just take one dynamic. I do cover ragtime in the actual course, but once again, that's in the hoot section, and then you have to have some good level of independence. If you don't know what independence is where this hand could be doing something and this is doing something else. Obviously, it's not that basic. But what we're going to do is, we're going to take these chords and do some stuff with our left hand. So for example, in the C minor chord, what notes do we have? Well, if we look at C minor, now I don't teach it like this where I just give the answers. Like I said, it just hurts me whenever I do this, but I know that you guys are my guests, so I want it to be as quick and as clear as possible. However, know that when you're actually doing the NEQ music system, you're not going to need me to just show you everything. You're going to know it up here, and it's going to be transferred here, okay? So for now, you're going to get that, but in the actual teaching, I don't need to do that, and that's the best part, okay? You get empowered to fish for yourself and not have to be given the fish. But anyhow, you can tell I'm a little rattled by that first question, all right? But anyhow, because I just don't believe you should just give people the answers. You got to teach them how to understand it. But anyhow, I said anyhow a lot of time. Let's continue. So the C minor chord, you would know it has the C, right? You know that this chord has a C, it has an E flat, and it has a G in it, okay? All right, so that's what this chord has in front of it. So what we got to do one level of ragtime is what we do is we want our hand to be doing some stuff. Now with accessories, we cover some accessories in volume 3, okay? And I would play it right now, but like I said, we don't have that much time. So in volume 3, we have our accessories. So what we do is we take that chord, right, and we use that chord to actually form a lot of great things, okay? So what do I mean? So we're going to do just the basic level of ragtime, which is we take just what we have here, take this to form this. Almost sounds like Jewish. All right, but we're not going to do that. We're going to do a little ragtime thing. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to play, like, let's put it like this. If we were in the key of C, what would C be in the key of C? All right, we know that in the C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. All right, we know we have this would be the 1, as you know. This is the what number? 2, 3, you got the picture, okay? 5, 6, and 7. So therefore, if we have an E flat, that's not the 3, we know that this is the 1, right? This is a 1, right? However, what is E flat? We know it's not the 3, right? 1, 2, 3, but E flat is the flat 3. So we know we have the flat 3, and we know the G in the key of C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? G, 5. If this was the 1. This is not the 1 in this key, but I'm just giving you an example. Okay? So these would be, so what we do for ragtime is all we got to do is one aspect or one accessory is we just play this 1 and then play the other 2 notes together. So it's like 1, this, all right? So let's say the first level would be like this, right? Now what you should be saying is, okay, that's good. So he's just playing the first note, whatever, this is the root of that particular key, right? So this is the root, R-O-O-T. If I'm talking about my advanced roots, I'll do that little, okay? But this is root, R-O-O-T. So this is the root. So one style of accessories is you play your root, okay? And then you play this, whatever the 3 and the 5 is. Now this happens to be a flat 3, all right? So in this particular case, we're playing the flat 3, and on top of that, we're playing the 5. Okay, so then it's just root, flat 3, and the 5 together, just like this, right? So what you do with that, you immediately look at that, okay, that's a minor, but what you got to do is every key, right? You got to basically do it in every single key. But what you do now, so that's one aspect. The next aspect of this is we want to do an accessory. And the accessory what we're going to do is going to be a 1 and 5 combination. So if it's the 1 and 5, we know it's C and G. So what happens is we're going to play the root, which is and then the flat 3 and the 5. And then what we're going to do is we're going to play the 5 with the, sorry, it's supposed to be flat 3 and 5. That says 3 flat, which we know we're talking about the same thing, but I like to keep it consistent. Flat 3. Okay, so this is going to be really our ragtime accessory, all right, at least the entry level one. So we have 1, all right, so it goes like this, and then we stretch our little number 5 finger, and we still play it. Right, now if you have to stretch over, you might have to change your fingers, okay? So therefore, you're going to have fingers 2 and 1 on the flat 3 and the 5, and then this, which is your number 4 finger on C, and then also for your 5 down low, you might have to use your pinky finger, which is number 5. So then you go like this. All right, so it's almost like using 2 hands, right? But we're using 1 hand. See that? All right, but what I would do, and all my NEQ music students would immediately do once they get that, they'll just be like this. They'll actually immediately break it down and do it in every single key. Okay, so that's what we could do. So if this works at this minor, and this is a minor chord, that means it works there. So you do the same thing. You break down the chord and you play the root of whatever chord you're doing, and then the 3, well in this case it's a flat 3 because it's minor, of that chord. And you do the same thing with B flat. B flat is going to be a major chord. So what we do is we take the root or the first note of that chord, all right, and then we play the 3 and 5 Obviously, B flat major doesn't have a flat 3. It has its own 3. So therefore, you do the same thing in that chord. Do you get it? Okay. Just rewind it if you don't get it. Okay, let me put this down to give you an example. So therefore, with my one hand, it's right? So what I did, I just played those 4 chords. So did you get that? Right. That's easy. Now, I'm not going to be able to go through the whole song, but if you know the chords of the song, make sure this hand does most of the work. This hand gets freed up to do more stuff. Or chords if you get more advanced. Now, what I'm also doing is, because I understand the language that I'm playing, I also not only added the principle of accessories, I've added a principle called approaches. Now, if you went through the 6 training videos, you got an idea of the different types of approaches. So for example, could take a numbers approach to get to each of these. So when I go do this accessory on the C minor, right? I know I'm going to go back, I want to get to here. So let's say I did a semitone approach coming from below the F. What's one semitone below F? Well, if we have F, one semitone below F is exactly, there's no black key here, so the semitone below is E. So therefore, what I will do is I will do this accessory, which is a ragtime accessory, and I want to get to F. However, so that last note is a G. However, I'm going to switch that and not play it as a G because I'm going to now take an approach to get me to my F minor. So therefore, it goes like this. Right? And if I do the same thing to get to the B flat, what's a semitone below B flat? Right? Is A. So then I would go like this. Right? So it would sound like this. Something like that, all right? So, but there's different approaches. I can do numbers approaches. I can do all those different things. But once again, it might be a little bit harder for me to teach this when you don't understand other principles. But I hope you get an idea of that's one level of ragtime. And there's many other levels that I go through in the actual course, okay? So hopefully that answers your question.
Is it possible to play any song on the piano without the need for sheet music? Well, each year, millions of people take traditional piano lessons with hopes of being able to play the songs they hear on the radio by ear. Fast forward about 10 years, and over $10,000 later, they are still unable to do so. Is there an alternative? Robert Chambers was 3 when he wanted to take lessons, but was turned down by a traditional music teacher. Though he was very sad, that did not discourage him. It only fueled his competitive nature. Robert decided that he would not only figure out how to play any song on piano on his own, but he would develop a method that would enable everyone else to do the same. Today, that method is known as the Any Key Music System, a proven course enabling people to master the art of playing piano by ear in 1 year. For more info, visit www.anykeymusic.com or call 1-866-926-5783.